So I've been using the Galaxy Z Fold 7 for over 100 days now, and let me tell you something straight up, Samsung finally nailed it. I've lived with every Fold since the Fold 3, and each time I'd end up saying the same thing, cool idea but not quite there yet. Well, now it is. This is the first Fold that actually feels like it belongs in my life, not as a test device, not as a cool gadget I'm trying to justify, but as my main phone. Does that mean it's perfect? Well, not quite. There are a few things I don't like and a few problems with the phone that you should probably know about before buying this phone. So after 100 days of traveling, editing, messaging, taking photos, breaking things, fixing things, and just living with it, here's the honest story. When I first unboxed the Fold 7, that familiar wow moment hit me again. You know that instant when a device looks so refined, you just know it's gonna be good? Well, that's exactly how this felt. The phone's thinner, sharper, cleaner, and honestly I think it's the best looking phone on the market right now. Not just among foldables, but period. It even looks better than the S25 Ultra. You've probably heard people say specs don't matter anymore. Well, that's not true for foldables. Here, thin and light completely change the experience. The Z Fold 7 is officially the world's thinnest foldable, and you can feel that instantly. Compared to last year's Fold 6, it's 24 grams lighter and 3.2 millimeters thinner. But what's wild is that it's also lighter than the S25 Ultra. Yeah, a foldable that's lighter than Samsung's own slab phone. And even though the difference is just 3 grams, it genuinely feels lighter and more comfortable to hold. And when you unfold it, the thinness is almost ridiculous. Foldables have finally caught up to normal phones in size and feel, and it's about time. But there's a catch. Because of that super thin frame, it's harder to open the phone sometimes, especially when your hands are dry or first thing in the morning. I've dropped it a couple of times because of that. Samsung could have fixed this easily with a small notch or grip area on the frame, which by the way they're apparently doing with the upcoming Z Trifold. It's a minor annoyance, mostly noticeable early in the day, but worth mentioning. Every year people ask the same thing, did Samsung finally fix the front screen? And this time, yes, they actually did. It's finally wide enough to use comfortably, typing no longer feels cramped. It's not perfect, but it's close enough that I don't immediately open the phone every time I need to reply or check something. I can scroll through X, reply to messages, and even edit captions right on the cover screen, something I never did on the Fold 6. The biggest compliment I can give, it finally feels like a normal phone, and that's how low the bar used to be. Unfolding the Z Fold 7 still gives me that mini wow moment. That 8-inch dynamic AMOLED display is just gorgeous, brighter, sharper, and larger than before. I've been watching Better Call Saul on it recently, and it genuinely feels like watching on a mini tablet. Now, yeah, you still get those chunky letter boxes because foldables don't match a tablet's wide aspect ratio. That's just the reality. But even then, it beats any slab phone by miles. You can watch a full video on top half with basically the same viewing area as a regular phone and scroll comments or do something else below. You can even pop it into flex mode and still get pretty much the same viewing area. This thing isn't just a phone, it's a multi-tool. A slab is, well, a slab. What surprised me the most is how it changed the way I work. I sometimes edit scripts right on this thing now. I've had YouTube Studio open on one side, Chrome on the other, and maybe Twitter squeezed in somewhere, all running smoothly, no lag, no stutter. Samsung even added a smarter split screen setup where one app takes most of the display and the other stays tucked away, one tap away. It's a small change that makes multitasking way more fluid. And that taskbar at the bottom, still one of my favorite things about the Fold. It makes it feel like a real tablet, and once you get used to it, you can't go back. As for the crease, it's still there, but much less noticeable. Online, it looks worse than it feels in real life. After a day or two, you just stop noticing it entirely. It's improved enough that it's not a real factor anymore. Inside, you've got the Snapdragon 8 Elite for Galaxy, and yeah, it's fast, like really fast. Everything opens instantly. Games, apps, multitasking, it all just flies. On paper, sure, it's a little behind the S25 Ultra in benchmarks, but in real life, you won't notice. What I did notice though is how cool it stays. Sure, it can get warm if you push it hard, but that's just normal. 98% of the time, it's surprisingly cool for a foldable this thin. Now, battery life on the Fold 7 has been decent. Not mind-blowing, not disappointing, just decent. For a 4400 mAh battery, pushing this massive display, it holds up surprisingly well. I've been getting a full day on mixed use, gaming, binge watching, multitasking like crazy. It survives. But am I completely happy with it? Honestly, no. Coming from the S25 Ultra and its 5000 mAh cell, the difference is noticeable. You feel that extra battery cushion missing here. And look, if Samsung had given us some bold, Chinese OEM style charging, 80 watts, 100 watts, something wild, this wouldn't even be a discussion. But no, 25 watt wired, 15 watt wireless, it's fine, it gets the job done, about 30 minutes for 0 to 50 and roughly an hour and a half to top up. Decent numbers on papers, but compared to the competition, it's just not keeping pace. Now, one of my biggest complaints about the Z Fold lineup has been its cameras. When you're paying this much for a phone, you expect it to be among the best, and that simply hasn't been the case. But the Z Fold 7 kinda changed that perspective because Samsung finally gave it the same 200 megapixel main sensor as the S25 Ultra, and it makes a huge difference. Daylight photos look fantastic, sharp, colorful, and full of detail. Low light shots look great too, and colors stay natural. But the zoom? Still 3x, and that's where it falls behind. Don't get me wrong, it's literally the same sensor as the S25 Ultra's 3x lens, but that phone also has a way better 5x periscope zoom camera, and this one doesn't. And honestly, that's my only gripe here. I just wish Samsung had gone the whole hog and copy-pasted the entire S25 Ultra camera system onto the back of the Fold 7. That said, for most people, this camera is more than enough. I've taken hundreds of photos and even product shots for videos, and they're all turned out great. Sure, it's not the best camera system Samsung has to offer, but it's almost getting there, and that's progress. Also, they finally ditched that awful under-display selfie camera. Good move. It's replaced with a 10 megapixel punch hole camera that actually looks decent, though the black circle is huge. It's not something you see all the time, but when you do, yeah, it looks awful. Now, I'm not the kind of person who uses AI all the time, but when I do, Samsung and Google together have made it ridiculously useful. Between Galaxy AI and Gemini, you've got tools that actually save your time. Need to remove something from a photo? One tap. Need a quick summary of a YouTube video before watching it? Done. You can even give it complex commands like add the next UFC telecast to my calendar, and Gemini handles everything. No manual steps needed. Gemini is so good now that I've practically replaced Google search with it. The generative photo editing is crazy good too. Edits look real, not artificial, and with the Fold's big display, Samsung added side-by-side editing so you can compare original versus edited shots easily. It's brilliant. One UI 8 ties all of this together. Everything feels more seamless. Animations, transitions, gestures. You open an app on the cover display, unfold the phone, and it expands instantly, no lag. Multitasking's more flexible now too. You can freely resize split screen ratios to 90:10 or 80:20, and your layout stays stock when minimized. Even small details have been refined: smarter widgets, better integration, improved quick share, smoother weather animations. Even small touches like the clock moving to avoid blocking your wallpaper. It's the most polished version yet. But there's one thing still missing: the S Pen support. And honestly, that stings. I get why. They had to remove the digitizer to make it thinner, but I would gladly take a slightly thicker Fold if it meant having the S Pen support. The Fold is the one phone that truly needs it. Maybe the Z Fold 8 will fix that next year. Fingers crossed. Alright, 100 days in, how's it holding up? Pretty good actually. No hinge issues, no screen protector bubbling, no weird noises, nothing. I folded this thing thousands of times at this point and it still feels as solid and tight as day one. It still opens at any angle, holds position perfectly, and closes flat, no visible gap. There's a tiny angle when it's fully open now, a millimeter or two shy of flat, but you'll barely notice it unless you're looking for it. But the frame? Yeah, different story. The paint is chipping and it's not subtle. There's also a scratch on the back glass, not sure when that happened, but it stands out because of the contrast. And full disclosure, I've dropped the phone 3 times already. One concrete drop left a little paint chip on the frame. No dent, so structurally it's fine, but cosmetically, meh. So get a case if you care about how your phone looks long term. This is still aluminum, not titanium like the Ultra line, and you can definitely tell. I've dropped my S25 Ultra too, and it still looks factory fresh. No scratches, no chips, nothing. The display though, perfect. No scratches on either the main or cover screen, and I've been using it without a case or screen protector. So yeah, the Fold 7 isn't invincible, but treat it with a little care and it holds up well. Just protect that frame if you want it looking new. So after 100 days, what's the verdict? Well, the Z Fold 7 is the first foldable that doesn't feel like a cool idea anymore. It's just a great phone. Thin, light, reliable, and it's my main phone. And for someone who switches phones constantly, that's saying something. Sure, it's not perfect, the lack of S Pen support still stings, the camera zoom could have been better, and the paint durability needs work. But for the first time, none of that feels like a deal breaker, because this is the first fold that I didn't want to switch away from. The hardware is finally caught up, the software is top notch, and everything just works. So yeah, if you've been waiting for the fold that's actually ready for daily life, this is it. Anyway, that's been my 100-day story with the Z Fold 7. Quick heads up before you go, Samsung's running a solid deal right now on this phone. They're taking a flat $600 off even without a trade-in, and if you do trade something in, it goes up to $1,000. Plus you get free double storage. I'll leave the links in the description so you can check it out. And if you want to see my Galaxy Watch 8 Classic review, it's right here and I'll see you there.